Video games are one of the most recognized and popular forms of entertainment out in the modern era. A myriad of them exist, each appealing to generations of fans as well as newcomers and casual players. Over time, different franchises, publishers, and companies have generated their own smaller sect of the larger fandom. Nintendo is one such company. With its ease of access for all ages, as well as its generally family-friendly aspect with titles like Mario and Kirby, it's no wonder they have a devoted fan base boasting its own collection of beloved titles. Along those already mentioned, The Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, Fire Emblem, Punch-Out!, and Metroid also have their spots as all-stars in the Nintendo lineup. You already read the title and clicked on the video, so you know what we're talking about today. Mario and Kirby are platformers, Zelda is the fantasy adventure, Metroid created an entire genre on its own, and Fire Emblem is the tactical RPG/dating simulator. But before the friendship-ruining, family-shattering Mario Kart made its debut, Nintendo released its premier racing title, F-Zero. My name is Powerhouse, and this is what I call Nintendo's F-Zero 99 dilemma. The dynamic of F-Zero has the player prioritizing speed, limiting contact with other racers to preserve their vehicle's durability, and a pit area not even being a place to stop, but just to recharge energy to allow for a continuous lap. Typically, there's only ever a few racers, but imagine 99. Released on September 14th of 2023, riding on the coattails of the 99 format established with Tetris, Pac-Man, and even Mario, F-Zero 99 was given to the public as a free download part of any Nintendo Online subscription. This started a conversation among Nintendo fans about whether or not this was a sign that Nintendo was working on a full F-Zero title. Initially, the game had an amazing and high following, but as time went on, interest dwindled exponentially. Nowadays, most lobbies barely have more than 10 real-life players. So, what happened? To answer this, we need to start with the approximate definition of a 99 game. The basic concept is as follows. 99 players all share a single play lobby, which reward good play efforts with sabotage on the other players present. In Tetris 99, for example, clearing rows meant adding extra obstacles for other players. In Super Mario Bros. 99, getting rid of enemies in your playzone would send them to a random opponent's playzone. Combos and active gameplay are what led to better sabotages. Basically, you just had to get good. F-Zero's formula already rides on the concept of sabotage, as you can goad other players into making unsafe decisions to weather their durability and ultimately die to an unwanted collision. And in F-Zero 99, that idea is brought into full scope with the crowded racing space. It becomes a speed versus battle strategy. Obviously, you need to win and place high enough by getting past other racers. But at the same time, you need to get rid of as many people in your way as possible. Two main mechanics for this come from spinning and boosting. If you spin, you briefly have a moment of invincibility that allows you to hit other players and reduce their energy. At the same time, however, there's the boost, which sacrifices a portion of your energy to help you get ahead. Of course, this wouldn't be an online game without some form of incentive. The ranking system goes from F to A, I believe, and increases when you take down assigned rivals in each race you participate in. It lets people know how good of a racer you are. The level system is a simple XP gain mechanic that gives you race tickets, which are used to enter special events. I personally didn't have a lot of time to play, but when I did, I had genuine fun racing and trying to do well. It wasn't necessarily difficult per se, but the challenge was reasonable enough to keep me engaged for about half an hour at a time. Currently though, there are barely any human players left. Most lobbies are filled with 80 or more bot racers. So how does an enjoyable 99 game with a valid structure have a sudden drop-off in popularity? My diagnosis comes from how it's exclusively online. There's no option for offline play, even if you're just trying to practice. And the XP gain mechanic seems more like a mobile game system than something with more incentive. Racing over and over again doesn't lend any desire on its own. There's also the retro aesthetic and simplistic gameplay which, while enticing, doesn't serve the game in the long run. The novelty wears off. The game itself doesn't change its status quo often or widely enough for being an online only as well. The events and unannounced game updates I saw while I played were pretty simple as well, not offering much more in diversity in gameplay beyond team battles, classic, F-Zero, and mirror mode. But there's also the point to be made that this could all just be a simple proof of concept that F-Zero is still popular enough to warrant a full title release. Tears of the Kingdom takes what Breath of the Wild set up and expands on what it can do for maximum output. There was an entire extra year delay just so the developers could work out every little issue and make sure the game was perfected for release. Super Mario Bros. Wonder completely flipped the script on the franchise, reinventing the wheel yet again after the Mario movie, no, not that one, the other one, almost solidified what Mario was in the modern, new Super Mario Bros. Saturated era. The idea is nice to think about, but Nintendo first and foremost is still a company, and companies all care about cash flow. The existence of an F-Zero precursor to a larger full title would require a bigger budget, and they likely don't have the money to do something at that scale. So it's cheaper to lock it behind a subscription for $4 a month or $20 a year. If you're already subscribed, it's free, but if not, it's relatively cheap. With fewer game modes and a gameplay style that replicates the classic, it takes less time to program, which means they save more money. Similar things happen in gaming all the time. Pac-Man's formula has rarely ever deviated from the original, and Ace Attorney and Pokemon play identically to their previous iterations, just with improvements for visuals and whatnot on the newest systems. The gate of the online subscription that not everyone wants to buy, however, does mean this could be a net loss, because they would be spending money making it, but make almost no money back unless everyone playing was a brand new subscriber. Nonetheless, it's a simple format, and it can prevent too big of a dent in the financial department. So how do we fix this? Well, for starters, the game should support offline play. The title can't even be opened unless you have an internet connection. So that really limits when you can play the game. Which is strange, because the Switch's entire point is portable console play. On top of that, allow for local multiplayer, because you can do a solo mode that practices on any track, but you can't play with anybody else in the room if you have friends over or if you're with your family. So that would really be a helpful thing. Because of the added features in this case then, the game should be paid and separate from Nintendo Online exclusivity. It doesn't have to be that expensive, but it should at least help give a return on investment. Though at this point it would be more of a standalone retro title than a 99 game. All in all, Nintendo's creation of F-Zero 99 was a great idea on paper and in practice. The reduced amount of features and quality of life components, however, are what ultimately drove it into the ground. A lack of features and varied playability, as well as no offline features, are the most evident factors in the game's drop in popularity. Had it been higher effort, the proof of concept would have stuck the landing. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you have to say in the comments below, and like the video if you want to see more of this kind of content from me. This is Powerhouse, signing off.